Hello everyone, welcome to my review of Powerlust, an action RPG that hit Steam on February the 19th, 2024, just a couple days shy of the much anticipated Last Epoch. While Last Epoch has been getting all the love from the RPG community, it seems Powerlust has been flying under the radar. Let's dive into the game and uncover why that might be. Despite its recent Steam launch, Powerlust has actually been around on mobile for a couple of years now. Hats off to Bart Mamser, the Lone Ranger behind this 6-year-long development journey. Originally destined for PC greatness, Powerlust took a slight detour before finding its way home. Now Powerlust is currently in early access and offers two modes, Story Mode and Dungeon Mode. While Story Mode is still finding its footing, Dungeon Mode is mostly polished and ready. Story Mode takes you through the classic RPG questing experience, while Dungeon Mode is all about hacking, slashing and boss bashing. More on that later though. Now, let's talk numbers. There's a bit of a gap between Powerlust and Last Epoch in terms of player count. As of this recording, Last Epoch's got a bustling community, while Powerlust player count is, well, let's just say it's more of a cozy gathering. And speaking of numbers, Powerlust comes with a price tag that's roughly half of what Last Epoch is asking. But does cheaper mean worse? That's the million-dollar question. So, firing up Powerlust, the first thing you are hit with is a prompt demanding a controller for the best experience. As a devout mouse and keyboarder, I was intrigued to see how this game fared without a controller. On the main screen, it's evident that Bart Mamser has been burning the midnight oil. A long list of improvement and fixes greets you. From performance tweaks to bug fixes, it's all there. Did I mention multiplayer? Yeah, it's there, although labeled as experimental, which is just another way of saying expect a few hiccups and broken keyboards along the way. Ah, character creation. The sacred ritual of every RPG. Powerlust gives you two classic classes to choose from, Warrior and Mage. Warriors gets 5 flavors to pick from, while Mages have a whopping 8 varieties. But this ain't your Grandma's character creation, no, you can mix and match to your heart's content. Warrior flinging fireballs? No problem. Mage wielding a two-handed axe? Why not? Creative freedom at its best. Sadly, there's no bardic flair to be found. Looks like I'll have to dazzle enemies with my divine moves instead. Priest mode activated. Now, being the sucker for a good story that I am, I jumped straight into story mode, bugs and all. The game's intro covers all the basics, key bindings, spellbook mechanics and the promise of more abilities down the line. It was at this point in my adventure that I crossed paths with a nameless NPC. Let's just call him Darwin. You see, Darwin had a peculiar obsession with a rock and insisted I gazed into its depth. Naturally, my first instinct was to smash the rock open in hopes of finding some shiny loot. But as Darwin's stare bore into the back of my skull, I reluctantly complied and peered into the mystical rock. To my surprise, interacting with the rock offered a glimpse into the future, giving me a taste of what it's like to be a high-level character. I must admit, I found this feature rather intriguing. Part of me thought it would be convenient if more games adopted this mechanic, allowing players to test out different abilities before committing to a character build. But then again, there's something to be said for the thrill of discovering new skills as you level up. What are your thoughts on this? Would you prefer to peek into the future or embrace the journey of discovery? Drop a comment below. After emerging victorious from the cave, I found myself in the first town. From here on out, it was your typical RPG experience. Fetch quests, dungeon diving, and oddly enough, a quest to locate someone's missing magical teeth.
What?
Some of the quests, or at least the markers on the map, seemed a tad buggy. I'd pick up quests or complete an objective, only to find the marker stubbornly clinging to the map, kinda like a clingy ex.
Ow!
Thankfully, a quick trip out of the area and back again usually did the trick. The quest in story mode had me running back and forth quite a bit. The world felt empty as I ran around on my mission of tooth retrieval. I managed to breeze through the entire story in just 2 hours, but not before I had to face another game bug alongside the final showdown with the boss. You see, my trusty main spell decided to take an extended vacation, leaving me to duke it out with the boss only using my expensive AoE spell. What should have been a quick skirmish turned into a marathon of dodging and weaving, much to my frustration. With all the glitches and the story mode feeling shorter than a Hobbit on stilts, I began to question whether I should even compare this game to others like Last Epoch. They may share the same genre and indie status, but they might as well be galaxies apart. But hey, I'm not one to throw in the towel just yet. Armed with determination and a questionable moral compass, I set out to right the wrongs of this fantastical world. Little did I know, the real threat wasn't lurking in the shadows or plotting world domination. It was their downright atrocious dental hygiene. I stumbled upon yet another unfortunate soul with a smile that could rival a picket fence. With my heroic spirit aflame, I embarked on a noble quest to restore dental dignity to this land. After a whirlwind of dental dilemmas and a sketchy exchange involving more teeth than a toddler's nightmare, I managed to bring back smiles to the masses. But as fate would have it, my good deeds came back to bite me. It turns out that I'd played a twisted game of dental roulette and mixed up the teeth, leaving me to rectify my mistake and play Tooth Fairy once more.
No!
With everyone's pearly whites now hopefully back to where they belong, I decided it was high time to ditch the dental drama and dive headfirst into the dungeon mode. I was pleased to discover that if you opt to dive into the story mode first like I did, you can seamlessly transition into dungeon mode after completing the story without the hassle of creating a new character. Before getting into the dungeon part of the game, let's quickly touch on the character sheet layout and the game's menus when interacting with trainers and traders. The character sheet and backpack layout is simple yet effective. You can easily see which stats will be affected when you compare gear pieces. The shop menus work quite well overall, and I was pleased to see a Sell All button at the vendor. It's surprising how many games overlook this feature considering the amount of loot you accumulate in action RPGs. Unfortunately, there's no option to scroll up or down using the mouse wheel when browsing the list of spells or abilities. In some cases, there's no scroll down option at all, requiring the use of arrow keys, while in others, there's a slider that can be clicked for scrolling. There's definitely room for improvement in this area. Now, moving on to the dungeon mode. Dungeon mode has its own little town, accessible through a portal in the main capital city from story mode if you started your adventure there. Within this settlement, you'll find essential NPCs including a trainer, a trader, a blacksmith, a teacher and 2 vendors. Be prepared to pay increasing amounts of gold each time you wish to see what's on sale from the special vendor. He seemingly sells gear a bit above average but nothing overly special. Additionally, some NPCs offer free rewards such as gear, gold and horde scrolls every 24 hours. Speaking of horde scrolls, they grant access to an arena-style challenge where you must fend off multiple waves of enemies until the stage is complete. Think of it as a mini-game within the game. While the vendor provides one of these scrolls daily, they're quite rare to find in dungeons. The trader handles buying and selling of goods, while the trainer is your go-to for skill training at a progressively increasing cost as your skills rank up. The teacher offers new spells for purchase, which you can also find in the game world from book stands. This allows you to play around and experiment with different abilities so you can fine-tune a unique class to your liking. And lastly, the blacksmith allows you to upgrade your gear and modify stats to your liking. It's worth noting that there's currently no crafting or gathering in the game. The dungeon entrance is located in the heart of the town. Each time you enter the dungeon, it's procedurally generated, ensuring a unique layout with every visit. Your objective is to collect loot, find skill books, and earn experience and gold, and ultimately face off against the end boss. Defeat the boss, and you'll complete the dungeon, granting access to the next challenge through the town portal. Just remember, these dungeons do get progressively harder as you advance. I was happily making my way through dungeons on power level 8, which is the max difficulty before you hit level 50. I had no problem clearing and defeating the bosses. Then I loaded into a dungeon called the Northern Forest. The difficulty increase from the previous dungeon was evident from the get-go. The enemies only had to get their hands on me once and I was done for. Every time I died, I lost 10% of my gold. At this rate, I might end up having to ask fellow adventurers to find my teeth as I was getting the living kicked out of me. There was no way of retreating to fight another day as you cannot leave the dungeon. If you leave the game, you just load straight back into the dungeon. An interesting mechanic. With me being stuck in the dungeon, barely winning my encounters, I realized at this pace I will be in here for a long time. So I decided to see if you can skip mobs and head straight for the boss. Success! Now it's only me and the boss. Just one more enemy standing between me and freedom. It was an epic back and forth battle. Me taking the full force of the boss hits like a true hero. After about 10 minutes of losing a lot of gold, I finally conceded. This was simply too much to handle. I will have to lower the difficulty in order to proceed. To do this, you have to lower the power setting, which means opening the main menu, lowering the power level, exiting the game and then loading back in. I lowered it to the lowest setting to get the feel for the difference in power. After this switch, the boss was a breeze and I managed to complete the dungeon. It was a bittersweet victory, but a lesson well learned. After playing Powerlust for a good while, it's clear that this game offers a mixed bag of delights and frustrations. On one hand, its gameplay mechanics and character customization options provides a solid foundation for an enjoyable hack-and-slash RPG experience. The dungeon mode, in particular, stands out with its procedurally generated layouts and boss battles that will test your character's limit as you fight your way into higher difficulties. However, the game's story mode feels somewhat lacking, plagued by bugs and a short playtime. While Powerlust has the potential to shine as a budget-friendly alternative to other action RPGs, it falls short in some key areas that makes games like Last Epoch stand out, leaving much room for improvement. Despite its flaws, there's still plenty of fun to be had in the world of Powerlust for fans of the old-school genre, willing to overlook its rough edges. Thank you for watching this Powerlust review. Show your support with a like and subscribe for my next adventure. I'll see you in the next one.